I'm pressing towards the mark of the highest calling.
No matter what comes my way,
I'm not stressing. Those days are all behind me. I'm wiser, I'm stronger, and my hope is built in you, Lord.
Hello and hello again, and welcome to another edition of the Living Strong Television Network broadcast, where I am your guest speaker, Prophet Scotty Lee Johnson. On behalf of the Whosoever Will Outreach Ministry, we're 2121 Tillman Highway, located right here in the beautiful city of Ridgeland, South Carolina, under the leadership of none other than Pastor Josie M. Bostic, along with Dr. Earl Bostic Sr., DMD. The Bible declares that the word of the Lord, it is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of bone and marrow. It is also a discerner of the thoughts and the intents of the heart. What you need to do is to call a friend, call a neighbor. Let them know that Living Strong is on, and when you're watching Living Strong and also Living Strong, you cannot go wrong. Fast 30 minutes starts right now. The word of the Lord declares this in the book of Romans, chapter number 13, verse number 1. Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers. The higher powers deals with the government. It deals with those powers that are terrestrial, whether they are extraterrestrial. Just recently here, we're dealing with the onslaught and the outpour of what is happening in America based upon the Trayvon Martin case, simply because of the fact that something unprecedented to mankind have opened up the Pandora's box and have released the truth like we have never seen before. From the four corners of the earth, the north, the south, the east, and the west, even to the highermost and the lowermost part of the earth, I want you to know that El Elohim is allowing his exact order to come in. The timing is right, and it cannot be more perfect than to bring forth a level of truth and a level of revelation that is now unfolding, that which have been hidden from ages and from times past. You just see recently today that the President of the United States spoke about that which was concerning Trayvon Martin and the George Zimmerman case, and based upon that, the level of truth runs parallel across the line. It is nothing new concerning the African Americans, in which millions of them are incarcerated right now unjustly, illegally, simply because they have been profiled. And I have seen this and said this for years, and there was no voice, there was no time, but yet God allowed a very significant thing to come forth, and he blessed bless the soul of the young man Trayvon Martin. But the Lord allowed that altercation to take place. And we don't say that it was God's will. We don't say that it was God's doing. No, it was nothing but the devil. Because the Bible declares that the rulers of this world, they are not a terror to good work. That the kingdom of heaven suffered violence, and that the violence taken by force, and every man press it thereinto. They press thereinto what? The violence. And how do they do it? They take it by force. And the president have called for calm. He have called for the fact that if you go out and you act crazy and you go to blowing up houses and tearing up houses and seeking revenge, then you dishonor the legacy of Trayvon Martin. And we will not do that. And each and every Living Strong viewer and each and every Living Strong supporter, you know good and well that what God is doing is allowing this turn of events to take place to expose what I've said about the four Omegos. You got the spirit of murder, you got the spirit of murder, hatred, evil, and racism. And what he's doing is unfolding it. So what you're going to see happen is that the news is going to spin, and they're going to spin on the right side. And they're going to spin, and they're going to spin. But when they get through spinning it, it's going to come back to the truth of what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said. Truth smashed to the ground will rise again. And I want you to know that we are not to be judged, hallelujah, by the color of our skin, but by the content of our character. And what God is doing is giving a voice to this nation. And that voice is just not coming through, oh God, help me to preach this tonight. That voice is not just coming through the President of the United States. No, that voice goes all the way back to Cain and Abel. When Cain slew Abel in the Garden of Eden, and God said unto Cain, where is Abel, thy brother? And Cain looked up at God and he said, am I thy brother's keeper? And my brother's keeper. And the Lord looked at him and said, oh, I see something here. I hear the blood of Cain, Abel, crying from the ground. It is crying for the restitution, for the righteous blood of Abel to the blood of Zechariah, from the outermost to the innermost into the Holy of Holies. God is saying that this is now a wake-up call in which he is allowing each and every one of you to begin to gird yourself with a level of truth. Let me tell you something. If you think this is just the beginning, you haven't seen nothing yet. If you want to fast forward this picture and you want to look at it, the thing that I've told you is that I pray that this nation does not have to declare some type of martial law and put everybody on curfew and allow the whole nation to be shut down even by 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. The reason why is because the level of truth that is being released is coming to the forefront. Now you've got to remember, you've got those that are in the inner circle, and as long as they can protect the nest egg, as long as that nest egg is okay, and the golden goose continue to sit there and lay that which is of the S&P. Now you watch this thing, because what's beginning to happen, I've told you about old Cookie Monster, the green gobbler. What he does is that he eats up all the dollars on one end and all the dollars on the outside. Crumbs fall to the ground, and crumbs are to be eaten up by the dogs, or the crumbs that fall from the master's table, do not even dogs eat them. But Jesus went even unto the dogs of the land. And the woman said, look here, I have somebody that's sick, and I want you to come in and see about him. And the Lord said, look, I was called to the children of Israel. It is not meet to give the master's bread unto dogs. And Jesus got an answer that he couldn't handle. He said, and the woman said, wait a minute, Lord, so many words. Even the dogs eat the crumbs from the master's table. The Bible declares it's better to be a live dog than a dead lion. And so in that process, we are seeing something significant happening in America. And what God is saying, hold the hem steady. Let everything take its course, because the best is yet to come. I see the heavens unfolding, and I see the thunder beginning to roar like never before. There is the latter rain. There is the former rain. And they come moderately. And what God is saying is that this nation is now receiving the final call, oh my God, of truth and justice that's about to prevail like never before. I am not supposed to say that, but there's going to be a toppling that's going to take place. Could you imagine something happening in this nation to turn everything in Washington, D.C. upside down, to where Abraham Lincoln, the Washington Monument, and everything else is turned upside down? Well, don't be surprised if that take place, because God wants to take some things and he's going to allow, hey, there's a truth that's going to prevail, and it's going to be turning everything upside down in this nation. Could you imagine what the forefathers sitting on Mount Rushmore looked like? I could imagine George Washington sitting up there and all the rest of them with their faces on Mount Rushmore with the frowns like never before, saying, thank God, at least I believe that this nation will become a nation under God, indivisible, with justice and for all. And those big old frowns sitting up on Mount Rushmore then all turned to smiles up there. And I'll tell you what, I believe that the Lord have preserved everything in this nation, and he's not allowed earthquakes or tempests to come to tear up anything, and he's preserved the Lady Liberty, but that Lady Liberty's got to stand also in truth and justice also. Oh my God, for God we live and for God we die. Even your money says, in God we trust. The only ones that trust in God based upon that is the ones that got money. So what is happening? Where is God taking us? This young man, Trayvon Martin, on his way home. 16 years old, just turned 17 in 2 weeks. Could you imagine what it's like to have just went out of your 16th birthday into your 17th year? 18, 19, 20, 21. He's got 4 years before he was to become a young man. And the portrayal of who he was. Walking, going home, the belief system followed. How many times have it happened? More than you would ever realize. And in the process of it all, the Lord allowed what was meant for evil to now begin to work out for the good. Started raining. And even as it started raining, he realized this guy's following me for what? In the heart and the mind of a 16-year-old, I can take you back to the projects of Mississippi and let you know how many times we had to run from point A to point B. Simply because there were people out there that was hunting us. I had a very strange thing that happened to me. I ran into a young man, Caucasian, and he was getting ready to go to school to become a law enforcement officer. And I was talking to him and hadn't seen him from time to time. And I said, well, what is your main reason for wanting to go to school to become a law enforcement officer? And he looked at me and he had this smirk on his face. And he said, to put people in jail. He came just so short of saying, I'm going to school just so I can put people like you in jail. And I looked at this and I said, it's already in the minds of many. The depiction of who an African American or a black American or whatever is. And in that mindset, it comes against the transformation of truth. When you look at Jesus and you wonder how he looks at it, a lot of people wonder, what color is he? Everybody know what color Jesus is. I can tell you what color he is. The whole world know what color he is. Well, what color is he, Prophet Johnson, since you know what he is? Well, thanks for asking. Jesus is rainbow color. No, that's right. You didn't expect that answer. He's rainbow color. So in the midst of this, and you're going to hear me continue to ride this, because you got rally all over America that's getting ready to take place, 60 to 100 cities. Well, Prophet Johnson, what are you going to be doing? I'm going to be hearing God. I'm going to, oh my Lord, thank you, Holy Spirit. Lord, hallelujah. For everybody that's watching Living Strong on tonight, the Father's saying to tell you that you have made a sacrifice. And because you have made that sacrifice to watch Living Strong, the Lord said to tell you that on to this night that he is positioning you. And when Father said to tell you that he is positioning you, he's not saying reposition you. He's saying positioning you. And positioning you means putting you in the right place at the right time so that the right things can begin to happen in your life. And the Lord is saying to tell you that there is an unfolding of truth and an unfolding of evidence and a restitution that's getting ready to take place on the behalf of my people. For when the thief is caught, he's got to return sevenfold. For he'll come in one way, but he's got to flee seven different ways. Now let me tell you something. And once again, you got to understand this one thing. There's going to be a whole lot of protecting the hierarchy. There's going to be a whole lot of solidifying the line, because it's all about the money, honey. So don't get so, weary in worrying about what it's all about. No, it's all about the money. When you say, well, Prophet Johnson, well, why do you say it's all about the money? Because what you're experiencing is that you're experiencing technical difficulty in your channel or in your set. There's a breakdown in the wavelength. Actually, your picture is not really coming through as clear. And the reason why is because if you don't think it's all about the money, look at what's going to be said based upon every agenda. There is not too much filtering coming down to help educate, to help support, to open up jobs, to release into the lives of even anybody an opportunity. There's only the support of opening and setting forth prison, locking them in, and then betting on the horses to see which ones are going to kill each other's first. So what you have in the system is every gang, every relation, every culture, every ethnic background, and those that are sitting in high places up in Hollywoods and Beverly Hills and everywhere else, whether it's in Bollywood or Yo Wood or any other woods, from the East Coast to the West Coast, that are surrounded by the gated communities. Why should they worry about it or rock the boat? So they'll solidify the bottom line and make sure that the assets are secured in the Cayman Islands and also the Swiss bank account. And then they'll be going again after 2 Chainz goes and Lil Wayne goes and all the rest of them goes and try to get their gold chain and even the gold teeth out of their mouth in the silver, just so they can build their bank account to be better than what it is. What are you trying to say, Prophet Johnson? When you judge people by what they look like, and then you go by that and stigmatize them in this nation, then what you have is a breakdown, a disconnect, and also a real ability to cause a firestorm like you've never seen before. Why do you think the fires are breaking out all over there in California, Arizona, and all the other places? You got the hot spots everywhere. It's already prophesied on Living Strong that the fires was going to hit those areas. It's already prophesied that the seas was going to begin to roar again, and you're beginning to find out that the nation in the economy is not so much worrying about the rebuilding of the economy or the coming back of the economy. It's dealing with a level of truth in which we ourselves have been undermined for so long, until truth, if it's not revealed, then there will never be no truth in the process of it all, because truth doesn't matter when it comes down to life and death. And I want you to know there was somebody that sung a song that said it doesn't matter whether you're black or white. Well, I think they got that wrong. It does matter, and pretty soon they found out when they went to court too. His name is J.M. Just reverse that backward. But nevertheless, it does matter. And what God is saying, it doesn't matter with him, but he's got to expose the truth about racism in this nation to bring us to a point to where we can harmonize with one another. Well, I want you to know, only thing about me, I've got a problem, because I kind of got crossed up in my DNA a little bit. Well, why, Prophet Johnson? Because I asked God, why did he make me a white boy and put me inside a black man's body? Because the things that I like are totally different from what a whole lot of brothers like. I love hunting, fishing, horseback riding, motorcycle riding, cow tipping, wild hog catching, coon hunting, and the whole 9 yards. Well, guess what? Mud bogging and anything else that releases, dipping and skipping in the whole 9 yards. I don't mind going out there in the water and seeing a catfish pull out of a hole by a man with a glove on his hand. Well, those are the areas of my life that I like. Well, all the other guys, they like sports and events and video games and everything else. So God brought balance to me, and there's a whole lot of Caucasian friends in my life that, my God, I wouldn't give up for the world. One of my blood brothers, whom I cut hand and wrist with, he's a Caucasian. And I want you to know that the Lord allows that to take place. So what do? You don't divide this. You bring it together. You don't allow racism to separate. You allow it to become an opportunity. One of the biggest separation is churches on Sunday. You better not go to some churches on Sunday because they got big invisible signs up that says not allowed. But nevertheless, you'll see them getting out at 11:45, 10 minutes to 12, and they can't wait to get out on the front porch and light up with Puff the Magic Dragon and turn the sky blue and purple like never before. Make sure they send a smoke signal up to help out the ozone layer and catch the golf club, and make sure that the dinner is ready at 12 o'clock at whoever the restaurant may be. So in the process of it all, what we're saying is that you got different cultures that do different things. So the most segregated time in America is on Sunday. Sunday is the biggest separation that there is. You want to see racism, all you got to do is go to church on Sunday. Every Sunday you see it. White folks in their church, black folks in their church, but then you got a few African Americans who have yielded to the superiority mindset or thought process of the Caucasian, in which they believe. You have Caucasian pastors that will have African American people that will pack out their churches, all because they have not gotten past, certain things in life, and they don't really understand that it's a high-tech spiritual marketing of the African American people. So based upon that, you say, well, I don't know about all that. It's all about your money. As long as they can get your money in their offering plate and go back to their houses, nobody's worried about Trayvon. Wake up. But you don't see the same ratio if you had a black pastor with a church full of Caucasian people. All the Caucasians that I ever had come to my services, they left, regardless of how much you love them, regardless of whatever the case may be. Then we got a few that comes and linger around. So you're sitting there saying, and at one time I was 60-40, almost 50-50. Well, what did you do wrong? Preach the truth. Well, what did you do right? Preach the truth. Well, why did they leave? Because they all wanted their own, just like all the African Americans that left the churches, stole churches, ran off with churches, set up their own churches. They all wanted their own, just like crabs in a bucket. So you give them their own. And you say, God bless you, and I bid you Godspeed. But who's going to tell the truth about this young man called Trayvon? Why? Because the Bible declares, for there is no power but of God. The powers that be are ordained of God. So God put the president in the place that he's in. It didn't surprise me to hear the president of the United States say what he said. Of course he's been through it. We all have. That's nothing new. And for you mamas that don't know about your sons, ask them. I've been training my son. My son was trained at 2 years old. We're riding down the road, and my son's at 2 years old and talking to me, and I got him sitting right there in the car seat and everything else, and I'll be like, oh my God, there he is. And I'm looking at a black guy with a white policeman pulled over. If not, it's black policemen as well as white. It doesn't matter. Racial profiling goes across the line. It's in that system. By the car you drive, by the way you look. And the truth has got to come out. All Caucasians are not bad. White people are not bad people. Indian people are not bad people. Mexican people are not bad people. You got bad people everywhere. You got racist black folks as well as you do racist white folks. Some people probably say, well, Prophet Johnson, I don't know where you stand. Oh, my God, please ask God. I prayed for years and asked God to give me white friends because I didn't have nobody to hang out with. Well, you didn't? No. My guys wasn't interested in going wild hog hunting. Black guys wasn't interested in going mud bogging. So I had to deal with that. And finally, they weren't interested in going too much turkey hunting. It's too much hard to kill a turkey. Why not go to Walmart? Because I was in the military. I grew up in the diversity. My school was integrated. I had Caucasian friends growing up. Good ones, young ones. Matter of fact, one of the first girls that had a crush on me was a little white girl. Boy, God bless her soul. That was back in the day, you know. But of course, I said no too, you know. No way. Just in elementary school, I was scared to death. You're not killing me early before I can reach 5th grade. You know? So the Lord brings in the opportunity to allow this to happen. What happened to this young man? He's going home. He's being followed. The story is so plain. It's so simple. It is so to the point. And he had the gun. Zimmerman. And you know what happens? Altercation takes place. Trayvon, this young man who was painted to be a thug, who was painted to smoke drugs, who they simply looked at life and didn't look at the experience of peer pressure, who haven't tried anything. Which one of you are not guilty? Who's going to cast the first stone? They stoned everywhere. They stoned in the media. They stoned in Hollywood. They're all stoned. They're just professionally stoned. They're stoned in Congress. They're stoned everywhere. And they look at this. And they judged him, not knowing that he had a family that loved him. Why? For what reason? It started raining, that I heard the testimony, run. He pulled probably his hoods up over his head, simply going home. And confronted. And only God and the other man know what happened besides Trayvon. He's shot. He's killed. Right then, right there. Because fear matches fear. He had to match what was inside of his heart before his heart got blown open by that 9mm. And the world exonerates the man who did it. 5 whites, 1 mix. It's not enough color to change the judgment. You might as well call it beige or eggshell. What did he die for? Going to the store for an Arizona tea or drink. And what else? A bag of Skittles. He died for that. If you think that that's what Trayvon Martin died for, you have missed it, and you have got to stay tuned to Living Strong on next week, because he didn't just die retrieving this. This is not just a drink, and it's not just a bag of Skittles, because you got to remember that Skittles comes in all colors. Revelation Fires are breaking out all over in Arizona. Revelation. What did he die for, Prophet Johnson? He died for the legacy so that every African-American young man that comes after him and walk down the street will have the spirit of that based upon your color. Oh, God, help me get through this. My time is running out. He died for the fact that the legacy of every African-American man shall live on, and this is the spirit of Trayvon Martin that speaks to the truth so that no matter where you go, you will not be targeted, you will not be profiled, and if you are, then you have no other choice but to fight for your life. Fastest 30 minutes already come and gone. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for watching Living Strong. It's raining outside. Trayvon Martin is dead. But watch the spirit that's going to come alive in this nation in young black men like you ain't never seen before. You watch. That's going to be my time. I'd like to thank you for yours. And in closing, love to live and live to love. Have a good night. Bye now.
Forgive my daily behaviors, what I say to my Savior before I fall asleep. And for the record, Lord is my shepherd, bless him, we all a sheep, they call it street. Quick crush the autumn leaf and then call it peace for the conqueror. About my collar leash, now the walls are breach, we all a meet. Heaven's will, we all a meet. Preach.